Playing World of Warcraft is a lot of fun. Whether you are playing for the raiding, PvP, role-playing or anything else, you are sure however to come across some players that just rub you off the wrong way. In this video we will discuss 7 types of WoW players that we hate. But before this video starts, leave a comment down below saying what kind of WoW player you dislike the most, as I'm pretty interested to hear your guys' opinions on this. So the first WoW player that people dislike the most has to be the guy that leaves after one wipe. You know, the guy that you're in a dungeon with him and you're just like going through the dungeon just at a normal pace, and then on one of the bosses the party wipes. And that is just something that is normal. That is just something that happens in raiding and dungeon crawling. It is just part of the game. However, this guy does not care about that. He wants a perfect run. If you do not get a perfect run, this guy will leave. Basically forcing you guys to find a new replacement for him, and that will take just a lot more time than if you would just resurrect and just go back into the fight once again. However, this guy has no time for that. He's just gonna leave and you guys have to find a replacement for him. Ironically, the guy that leaves after one wipe is probably wasting his own time, as if he just sticks around and people learn from the mistakes that led them to wiping, he would probably get through the dungeon pretty quickly. However, this guy doesn't care for that, he's just too emotional and he will just leave the dungeon or raid group, ultimately wasting his time as well as yours. And usually this guy is probably the healer or a tank, and finding those is pretty laborious and it takes a long time to replace them. It is just something that is just very annoying to any WoW player. Alright, so the second type of player that people dislike the most has to be the real money traders. Now, the real money traders are people that want to take a shortcut in the game, and the nature of MMOs basically means that you have to grind for things. It takes a long time to get anything. That is just how the MMO genre is. If you want to get some gold, it's going to take time farming gold. If you want to get some nice piece of equipment from the auction house, you do need a lot of gold to do that. There's also reputation grinds, gear grinds, progressing through the raid content. It is all just a big grind, and playing World of Warcraft just takes a big time commitment if you want to get anything good. That is just how the game has been throughout all of the expansions. Now, most people are in the camp of just wanting to buy something in World of Warcraft, and usually that means that it is gold. However, recently there has been a different type of real money trade that has been pretty popular, and that is paying people to boost you through certain dungeons and raids. Hypothetically, a website will be selling boosts through mythic dungeons, and if you pay them a certain amount of money, they will invite you to the group and you will get the gear from that. Despite not really being qualified to go in that dungeon, these guys will carry you. Because you're paying these guys money, these guys are being given real money, they'll be more than happy to take you through the dungeon. And believe it or not, but I have been contacted by a few of these websites that sell dungeon runs, and they have been offering me quite a lot of money to advertise their website on this YouTube channel. However, I of course declined. I don't think it is a good idea, despite the fact that it is against the terms of service and my account will get banned if I do that. It is also just not good for the game. Like, you've got a bunch of people that have way higher gear than they really deserve. You see guys in Mythic plus 15 dungeon gear when they are obviously not that level of player. It's kind of like cheating in an exam. Like, you can maybe pay someone to write an essay for you and you get an A+. However, when you graduate from that university, you will be a guy that has a really good degree, but you don't have any of the skills to back it up. So what is the point? When you eventually get hired by a company that sees you have this degree and they quickly find out that you aren't that skilled, the whole thing's pointless. If you have really good gear and then you join a guild that does mythic raiding and they find out that you are not that level of player that your gear suggests, they will not want to party with you. They will not want to invite you to their raids. It's as simple as that. Really, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and unfortunately this has been going on since the days of vanilla, where people would buy gold, but now it's a little bit different. Now it's basically selling dungeon runs. Number 3 has to be girls, quote unquote. Now, I have to look at my YouTube statistics and I can see that the vast majority of you guys, like 95% of the guys watching this, are going to be men. They are not going to be women. However, when you look in World of Warcraft, you do see a lot of female characters, and How many of these people are actually claiming that they are women when they are in fact a man behind the computer? Now, there's nothing wrong with playing a female character if you are a man. However, you can't lie about who you are behind the computer. Like, that is just going too far. There's nothing wrong about playing a female character if we are willing to suspend our disbelief and play as orcs, dwarves, and Draenei. Then we can suspend our disbelief and roleplay as a female. However, what is the problem is when these guys pretend that they are really a female and it really is someone that looks like this. These guys are pretty crafty with it. Like, if you try to get them on Ventrilo, or if you try to get them on Discord and actually use their voice, they will always have some kind of excuse, like their microphone's broken or they don't have a microphone, which, you know, come on, it's 2018. Everyone has a microphone. That is just ridiculous. But yeah, they'll never go on voice chat, and that should tell you everything you need to know. But what some of these guys do is they actually try and profit from it. Like, they'll pretend to be a female in order to get people giving them stuff for free. Like, it's kind of become a meme now that if you pretend to be a night elf female, you'll just be given gold randomly by thirsty guys on the internet. It's pretty shameful. And if you want to see evidence of this, all you have to do is go onto a role-playing server and then go to your Goldshire Inn, and you will see exactly what I am talking about. There are a lot of females dancing in the Goldshire Inn, and I can guarantee you that maybe 5% of those characters are actually a female behind that computer. So definitely do not trust any female character, because the statistics say, according to my YouTube statistics, the vast majority of WoW players are actually men. So always be a little bit skeptical when someone in-game tells you that they are a female, because chances are they are not. Alright, number 4 is Vanilla WoW Fanboys. Now, there is nothing wrong about preferring a certain expansion or an era in World of Warcraft. I, for one, prefer Vanilla WoW and the Burning Crusade. I think those are the two best eras in World of Warcraft. Or rather, I would say Vanilla WoW is when I had the most fun. The difference between someone that just prefers Vanilla WoW and someone who is a fanboy is that a fanboy will defend something to an irrational level. They will not be able to accept any criticism of the thing that they are a fan of. They are a fanboy. There's absolutely nothing wrong about preferring Legion World of Warcraft or Vanilla WoW. It is really a subjective opinion, and there is no objective definition of what is better and what is worse. So the people that swear that Legion WoW is a terrible game and that World of Warcraft is dead, like everyone loves saying that, right, are just being really irrational. There are flaws and benefits to both modern World of Warcraft and the old school versions of World of Warcraft. Many things are just straight up imbalanced. There are problems with travel time, and the quest scripting is nowhere near as sophisticated as it is in 2018. That is pretty much obvious. There are just a lot of problems with Vanilla WoW, and there is nothing wrong with saying that. You can like something and still recognize that it has flaws. That is a mature perspective. A few Vanilla WoW players really don't have that. If you criticize Vanilla WoW in any way, they will just get really mad and they will just go crazy. But we're just normal people, but we just prefer the classic WoW game. However, the fanboys are the people that give us a bad name. And you can find quite a few of these types of people on YouTube. Some of these guys have made a YouTube following out of pretty much just talking crap about modern World of Warcraft, and it gets pretty toxic. Alright, so number 5 has to be the healer that declines the Dungeon Finder invite. If you are a DPS class, you know the struggle. You know the struggle of playing a DPS class and then using a Raid Finder or a Dungeon Finder, and you've been there for about 30 minutes. You've been waiting for about half an hour. You finally get asked if you want to join the group, and you select yes, and you are just waiting for everyone else to accept. You're waiting for the DPS, the tank, and the healer. Now, you got 4 out of 5. Now, 4 out of 5 guys have clicked yes. So you've got 4 ticks. And you're just waiting for the healer to click on yes. You got the tank ready, you got the 3 DPS ready, including you. And now all you need is the healer. Unfortunately, this healer is either just gone AFK or just has changed his mind, but basically it means you now have to wait a lot longer. It is basically just getting your hopes up and then you just have to go back into the queue. It is just really annoying. It's kind of always been part of MMOs that most people will rather play DPS classes, and the tanks and healers are something that is a little bit more sought after. I don't know what it is, but people just don't think being a healer or a tank is nearly as cool as being a damage dealer. You can even find this kind of mentality in games like League of Legends. Like, if you try and play the game, a lot of times you will just straight up lose the game because no one wants to play a support class. The other team who has a support hero will just win because they have the optimal setup and you do not have a support. Unfortunately, this still happens in 2018. I don't know why, but playing a healer and a tank is pretty fun. It is just as much fun as a DPS class. However, there is just way more DPS than there is healers and tanks. Alright, so this is an old school guy that we hate. Now, if any of you guys have played World of Warcraft in the past, you will know about the old school ganker. Now, the old school ganker is a guy that is way higher level than you, but for some reason has nothing better to do than to gank you over and over. Pretty much have no chance of defending yourself. However, this guy is so much higher a level than you, and he can basically just one-shot you over and over, and every time you resurrect and you go back to your corpse and you come back to life, this guy will kill you once again. This is something that is common in classic WoW. This is something that many people had to deal with back in the day. However, the modern PvP system pretty much takes this out of the game. However, back in the day, this was a really big issue. You would have guys that pretty much have no life. They will happily gank you over and over again. There's no challenge on his part. It is just a matter of one-shotting you, and you really can't do anything about it. If you are a level 15 character, if you are a level 15 alliance and a level 60 rogue keeps backstabbing you, I mean, what can you do? There's nothing you can do, essentially. The best you can hope for is that some other level 60 alliance will come and protect you and will maybe fight this guy for you, but you know, that is just expecting someone else to help you out. The old school ganker is someone you always wonder who is behind that computer. When you picture some guy that is just killing some poor low level mercilessly, you have to imagine that this guy really does not have anything better to do. Alright, so the last guy, and this is probably the guy that I dislike the most, and it is the entitled casual. And the key word is being entitled. Now, obviously in World of Warcraft, there are some players that take the game seriously and they wish to perform at the highest level, whether that be in PvP or do mythic raiding. These are guys that want to get to the end of the game. These are guys that want to play the game at a serious level, and that is their choice. But most people, they are just playing the game casually, like they'll maybe play like a few hours each week. It's not really something they're really dedicating their time to. It's just a hobby for them. It's just something that they enjoy doing at a leisurely pace. Now, I would consider myself a casual player. I do not play the game that much. It's just something that I find to be fun to play for a few hours each week. It's not something that I'm really trying to get good at. However, I'm not complaining about that. I realize that the reason why I don't have amazing gear is because I'm not taking the game that seriously and I'm not putting so much effort into it. And I am perfectly fine with that. However, the entitled casual has the opinion that even though he plays the game for a short period of time, he is entitled to getting the rewards that a guy that takes the game seriously does. Despite the fact that the guys that are doing mythic raiding play for a long time and they take the game very seriously and they play at a really high level, the entitled casual thinks that he is entitled to their level of gear just because he pays his subscription. Just because he pays the $15 a month, this guy thinks that the world should be his oyster. And this is a player that has been plaguing the game since its launch. And it's really a mindset that I dislike personally. I think if you are willing to put in the effort to try and get something good, there is nothing wrong with that person having the rewards from their hard work. I accept that I'm a casual player and I'm not going to be getting into Mythic anytime soon, and that is perfectly fine. The entitled casual has a different take on it. He thinks that just because he pays the subscription, he should be able to get the rewards that the hardcore players get. It's the type of mentality that people have when they see someone that is successful and they complain that this guy has more money than them. However, what they do not see is the hard work and dedication it took for them to buy that Lamborghini. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more. This is vaulty, signing out.